Fuel efficiency is such a big theme, and so is work efficiency, for that matter. And for our purposes tonight, there is a significant connection. Ford Motors' Cleveland engine plant in Brook Park produces the new EcoBoost engine. You've heard of it. And to boost its growing workforce to be more efficient, the plant has partnered with Cuyahoga Community College. They've implemented a special training program that has greatly enhanced productivity and employee involvement, so much so that this plant is one of Ford's best anywhere. Sarah Taylor was fortunate to get under the hood for an inside look and shows us how they're doing it.
When an old auto plant gets an opportunity to build a new, complex engine, how does it respond? Here at Ford's Cleveland Engine Plant 1 in Brook Park, it was in a not business as usual way.
When this plant only had the 72 people in it, and I realized what was going to make us different and why Ford would want to invest in Cleveland Engine Plant 1, I thought it was imperative that we would use an educational perspective in order to get this business, and it really did pay off.
Guy Hamilton is the building chairman for United Auto Workers Local 1250. He's a veteran of the historic Ford facility in Brook Park. When it opened in 1951, Cleveland Engine Plant 1 was Ford's first engine plant in Ohio. Ford built a second engine plant here and a casting plant, which is now closed. Hamilton worked at the complex until being laid off in the 1980s. He entered the Navy, later returning to Cleveland and to Ford. What he found troubled him.
We had lost our edge as far as being able to get the machinery up and running in a faster time frame.
Engine Plant 1 was idled in 2007. Its workforce dwindled to 72. The future looked bleak. But through creative and productive negotiation, the plant was awarded production of a new engine on which Ford has high hopes, the EcoBoost.
You're getting V8 power out of a V6 engine. And what does that really mean to you? Well, if you put the EcoBoost engine in an F-150 pickup truck, used to be you'd get 14, 15 miles to the gallon on an F-150. You are now getting 22, 23 miles to the gallon out of an F-150. But you're also able to tow and pull 9,300 pounds. So, I mean, you're getting the towing capacity of a V8 with the V6 performance.
And at $4 a gallon, that's pretty attractive.
It makes it a whole lot better, yes, ma'am.
We built it, first of all, in Cleveland, Ohio, in our Cleveland engine plant, and we pulled it right off the line, the assembly line.
So strongly does Ford believe in the EcoBoost engine that it put it through what it called the torture test. A series of videos documents how the engine responded. You can find all 6 episodes on YouTube.
Watch as we take a randomly selected EcoBoost engine and run it through a series of grueling durability tests to prove how tough it is.
You could argue the Cleveland workforce is as tough and resilient as the engine it now builds. When confronted with a new way of building these engines, they adapted.
To come in and now be retrained, retooled per se. We've even had dexterity classes because the casting plant folks are used to working like this, and now we're working in this type of environment.
The union helped by working with Ford to enlist a training partner, Cuyahoga Community College.
Ford had the vision to say, here's a new product, here's a new opportunity, and the EcoBoost engine is a very, very fuel-efficient product and very much needed when gasoline is at the current levels.
John Gajewski is a leader in Tri-C's Workforce and Economic Development Division. The college's efforts have earned mention in a new book, The Next American Economy, Blueprint for a Real Recovery.
As we have advisory councils and committees for manufacturing, for skilled trades, for industrial automation, for all the various technical disciplines where we provide training, and we meet with the advisory councils from industry biannually, and what they help us do is to determine, is our curriculum and training program what they need? Are there trends that we need to be anticipating? And then our big question is, now that we are training people, are you hiring them? And if you're not hiring them, what can we do to make them a better employee?
When Ford and the UAW approached Tri-C, Gajewski says the partnership developed rather easily. He credits reasonable people committed to meeting a need.
Okay, when I say reasonable people, it's people without agendas. They want to work for the common good of their plant or their community or their company or their membership. And what we're able to do is just put aside any type of personal agendas or personal biases we would have to say that for the common good of the plant, the community, the workforce, here's what we want to do from a standpoint of a training program.
It is a disc valve motor, and at the same token, they have a gerotor on the backside. The way they determine the size of these is by the gerotor.
Workers have access to a variety of classes like this one in hydraulics. Tri-C has a project manager on site at Ford. One of the main programs they run is a back to basics minor maintenance course.
The 4-week fundamentals, they get a fundamental class, so we level everyone. They get understanding of measurements. We take them back through math. We take them through conversions from metric to English, English to metric. So it's a fundamental class, but it's a needed class because some of the employees that we have haven't been in school for 20, 25 years.
That's huge because it sets a new benchmark in the industry. You know, it's like that puts, in my mind, puts Ford ahead of the curve, not behind the curve. It makes a much better environment, more efficient environment for the worker that's on the manufacturing floor.
Ford has made a substantial commitment to the plant's training program. Robinette says $1.7 million. By working with an accredited institution like Tri-C, Ford is eligible to receive grant funding to cover some costs. Robinette says Tri-C has been very flexible, much better than relying on equipment manufacturers, whom he says are more costly and rigid. And there are benefits for the employees, too. They can earn 10 credit hours toward an associate's degree in engineering.
So we understand the fact that at any time, based on the consumer, the outside consumer buying our product, that our volumes could shift, and unfortunately there's a potential for layoff. So I felt that the most important thing was to give our membership the opportunity to get college credits so that if anything would happen in the event of a layoff or no longer wanting to be with the company, it would give them an opportunity on the outside to competitively compete in the job market.
Ironically, some workers who've been laid off have been called to work by other auto manufacturers. Opportunities for well-trained manufacturing workers in Ohio will only grow, according to Tri-C's Gajewski. The school offers extensive training programs.
My opinion is that community colleges working with corporations will be needing to put training programs in place so that the incumbent mid-career worker and early career worker can receive the technical training so they can replace the experienced knowledge worker that's leaving.
And Gajewski expects a lot of openings. He estimates 200,000 of Ohio's 600,000 manufacturing workers will be retiring in the next 4 years.
The manufacturing worker of tomorrow is roughly the 6th or 7th grade today. So what education and what corporations need to do is begin to reach into the K through 12 system to ensure that the young people who would consider manufacturing as a viable career give it the consideration that it's due. Again, 200,000 replacement positions is not insignificant. Now, incidentally, manufacturing, the average manufacturing worker earns more money, wages and salaries, than the average healthcare worker.
This engine has a lot of life left in it.
After being put through extreme conditions and run for more than 160,000 miles, the torture-tested EcoBoost is shown to still meet the standards of a newly built engine. Credit Cleveland workers who take pride in what they do and have come to appreciate the value of the education they're receiving.
You have a lot of people coming through the classes. When they first started, it was, oh no, I have to go to class, you know, I have to do this. I have people asking me to take classes now. So, you know, it's a good thing. It's a good thing all the way around for Ford and for the employees.
Robinette sees it as a new way of thinking being embraced by the automaker. It's something he strongly believes, especially because of his own personal experience starting out at Ford.
But I was actually told that you were paid to put parts on a vehicle, not to think. And that was a great waste of part of our employees. Our employees are the most valuable asset that Ford has. And to be able to upskill them and to utilize that knowledge is something that I think Ford has finally realized that it's very important to do.
And it's paying off. Right now, the plant has more than 800 employees, producing 900 engines during each of its 2 shifts. And the quality is measurable.
Our quality metrics from an industry standpoint with the complexity of this engine are in the top 5 from a FTT standpoint, and that's first time through is what FTT stands for. We are on the leading edge. With our EcoBoost engine, there's a lot of complexity as far as the coolant lines and stuff that cools the engine and those kind of things. That it's the most complex engine right now that Ford builds. And it's just a testament to the folks here in Cleveland Engine Plant 1 for the work that they do on that floor day in and day out.
The way that they manufacture that engine downstairs, it's incredible. I walk down there probably once a week. I just like to get that exercise anyway, but I watch how everything works with the robots, with the folks on the line, and how they machine things now. It's just amazing. The technology is incredible, and we just have to get the workforce up to speed where the technology is, and I think we're doing that right now.
Tri-C has trained some 800 workers here at the Ford plant in Brook Park, and with demand increasing for the EcoBoost engine, and because this is the only plant where that engine is built, it's likely they'll be training many more.